Okay, hey YouTube's Captain Jax here. So I'm here to give you guys today a deck profile on my Magic World Shadow Shade deck today. So as for my buddy, I'm running Silhouette Leon. He's a size 0, 2/1/2. When there are two or more cards in a soul of a card, in a card's soul on the field, it gets +1 critical. Pretty solid size 0. I'm running him as my buddy because Joe and Terry are really hard to find nowadays. So, and I'm always usually summoning him every game, so it's not a terrible buddy. So let's get on with the main deck. As for size 3s, I'm running 4 Manipulator of Shadow Form Silhouette Terry. He is a size 3, 8/5. Pay 2 gauge, put a spell from your drop zone into this card's soul. If this card has 3 or more soul, it gets +1 critical. It inherently has double attack and soul guard by itself, making it a solid card. So the point of this deck is to build up soul, and Terry is your main card to sit on during the in-game. He's a big hitter and a big critter. Any questions? No? Let's go on. Your second boss monster of the deck, size 2, 7/4. Pay 2 gauge, put a spell card from your drop zone into this card's soul. If this card has 2 or more soul, you may remove the soul to burn 2 damage to your opponent. If there are 5 or more cards in soul, you may remove the soul to deal 6 damage to your opponent. It inherently has soul guard, and I forgot to say its name, so it's Illusionist of Shadow Form Silhouette Joe. You use him as a final game push, or you just want to burn your opponent to death. This card is just your go-to card. So let's get on to the next monster. Next, size 2, we have 4 Silhouette Sinbar. You may dump, it's a 3/3/3, size 2. You may dump this card from your hand to put a Shadow Shade monster from your drop zone into your hand, so you can reuse your Terry and or Joe, or any other Silhouette you may need in your deck, in your drop zone. Very solid crit, so if you do not have Joe or Terry, you can swing 3 crit with him. And he is also a free armor reuse. Next, we have 3 Silhouette Max. He is your quote-unquote Shiden of the deck. If you have 2 or more cards in this card's soul, you may remove the soul to draw 2 cards. Solid draw power, works really well with Trick or Trick if you're trying to dig for Terry or Joe. And it's a 2/1/4, so it has a booty. 4 Silhouette Leon, your buddy, my buddy, not your buddy, my buddy. Well, I don't know. That's not the point. 2/1/2, like I said. If there are 2 more cards in the card's soul on your field, meaning if there's 2 or more cards in Terry or 2 or more cards in any card in the soul on the field, including his soul, he gets 1 crit, so it becomes a 2/2/2. Solid card. I'm just waiting for the promo to come out that says put a card from your opponent from your drop zone into your monster soul when it hits the field. So yeah, so this is your buddy, my buddy. Weapons? Yes, I'm running weapons. 4 Gunrod Bosendorfer. I'm not even going to. I probably just killed that card's name. Basically, pay 1 gauge. You may rest this card to burn for 1. If you and your opponent have 1 card each on the one monster each on the field, you may burn 2. This card's really solid first turn, and it's really solid if you would just want to burn your opponent. It's good against Seeger, it's good against Star Dragons, it's good against anything that sits on 1 monster. And especially with Magic Goodbye in the deck, you can bounce cards on the field to make this card live. So next for spells, we run 4 Trick or Trick. its ability is you may put a spell from your drop zone along with this card into the soul of a Shadow Shade monster. The second effect I haven't used it at all. I feel like you don't need to use the second effect. If you have a reason the second effect should be used more, let me know in the comments. But second effect is you may put 2 cards from the soul of a card on the field into the drop zone to destroy a card on your opponent's side of the field, and then put this card into the soul of that monster. So basically it's a -2 cards from soul to pop monster. Technically it's a -1 from soul to pop monster, but it's soul that you could be using to just use as defense. I just don't feel like the effect is as good as the first one, so I barely ever use it, and there's nothing I haven't faced anything that's worth using the second effect on. So yeah, so on to the next. Next spell we have 4 of the Shade. It's basically your charge and draw of the deck. If you have you only cast the card if you have a Shadow Shade monster on the field. Put the top card of your deck into the gauge and draw 1 card, and then put this card into the soul of a Shadow Shade on the field. +1 for soul, +1 for hand, +1 for gauge. Just all around amazing card. I don't see a downside to it. I'm sorry, I don't. So yeah, so we run 4 of those. Next we run 4 Malicious Selector. Pay a gauge, choose one of the following abilities. This card, and then put this card into the soul of a Shadow Shade monster. Destroy a size 1 monster on the field, on your opponent's side of the field, or choose a Shadow Shade choose a Shadow Shade in battle, and for that battle, this card gets +3/+3 counterattack. So basically, it's a +3/+3 counterattack or a Dragon Thunder. Solid card. You can also activate it even though you don't have a Shadow Shade on the field, so you can just go cast, destroy monster on the field, or you can just have it fizzle and put it in the drop zone you can go, okay, your opponent's size 3, running a size 3 deck, you can just go pay 1 gauge, attempt to activate, it fizzles, goes to drop zone, and then you can use it from drop zone to put in the soul of a Terry that you summon that turn. Solid card. All around solid card. Dragon Thunder and a 3/3 counterattack in 1 card is just solid. For 1 gauge. We got 4 nice ones. Staple for any magical deck. Pay 1 gauge. Draw 2 cards. You only you may only cast a card once per turn. First turn, solid play. Play it, draw 2. Summon Terry, put this into soul from drop zone. Just solid plays are solid. 4 magical goodbyes. Counter, or if you guys who don't know what this card does, then you guys probably knew this game. Return a size 2 monster or less to the owner's hand, so you can bounce your monster or your opponent's monster. It can act as a nullifier for your deck, or you can just bounce it to make bounce a card to make the Gunrod active. This card never fails. Sometimes. On a second note, I know I'm not explaining a lot, but I'm just going through the deck profile. I'm not here to just explain every card it does. That would take me forever to do, so I'm not gonna do that. I'm just doing a quick deck profile. If you guys want a in-depth explanation of the deck, comment below and let me know, and I will be happy to do that in a separate video. Next, we have 3 Key of Solomon First Volume. This deck does have some gauge issues, and Key of Solomon helps fix that. Also, you can cast it just to get a spell in drop zone, so you can summon your Terry or Joe. First turn. but basically just gets you your gauge that you need when you need it. Next we have 3 Solomon Shields. It's your Ninja Arts body replacement clone for Magic World. Basic, if your monster attacks, nullify the attack if it's not a link attack. Basic. Next we have 2 That's How I Roll. If your size 2 or greater monster on the field is being attacked, nullify the attack. Simple as that. So yeah, guys, that's the deck profile on my Shadow Shade deck. Again, guys, sorry it's not too in depth. I have worked in like an hour, so I didn't have time to go in depth on all of the cards in the deck. So if you guys want an in-depth discussion about that, comment below, let me know. I will go through some combos with you guys and explain to you guys why I run certain cards and over others. This is my first, other than Danger for like a week, it's my first deck that I've ran outside of Katana World, and it's a whole new playstyle for me, honestly, but I'm really liking it. It's a really solid deck. Terry and Joe make the deck so good. So yeah, so tell me what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll see you guys later.